One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine. A leading authority in generalized anxiety, Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Anxiety Guy podcast. This is Dennis Simsek. Welcome to episode number 28. Please subscribe to this podcast. I'll be making episodes like this every Monday, and all the updates are going to be on Facebook under The Anxiety Guy. As well, I just made a fantastic Instagram account that I like to share a lot of inspirational photos, a lot of motivational quotes for you guys out there. So make sure to follow that, and on we go with the episode. So today, we want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite books. One of my favorite books related to anxiety. This book got me through a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. And that was basically at the time of the peak of my anxiety disorder, my health anxiety, my symptoms and such. And the book is called Hope and Help for Your Nerves by Dr. Claire Weekes. And I have a copy of it here on my phone. As you know, I like a lot of my ebooks. I like to download a lot of stuff through iBooks and iTunes and such. And I've been reading. I've probably read this book about 30 times. And during the peak of my anxiety disorder, a lot of things stuck out to me, but there were also things that really didn't help me. And one of the things I didn't really understand, didn't really relate to, was the fact that Dr. Claire Weekes was not pushing, but kind of, talking a lot about medication and the fact that the importance of CBT and medication together. In my personal opinion, now remember, this is just my personal opinion, and I've gotten questions about this before. Should I be taking medication? Should I be doing antidepressants and such? In my own opinion, I personally believe that nature gives us everything that we really need. I don't want anyone out there to fall into the trap of thinking that the first line of treatments that you hear are the only options in today's world. Reason being is that I've witnessed so-called miracles over and over again of people that are just down in the dumps, can't get out of their house, and agoraphobia taking over, anxiety, just taking over their lives, and they've been able to turn that monster into just basically what seems like an annoying fly that buzzes around once in a while. And I've seen this consistently, guys. I've seen it consistently with the help of books like this and coaching programs that you'll find on my website, anxietyexit.com, and stuff like that, and inspirational success stories from other people. I believe that everything you need is already out there in nature. St. John's wort is fantastic. Chamomile tea, such things like this are fantastic. There's a lot of stuff out there that can replace your medication stuff, but for sure, talk to your doctors first. My own personal opinion. But back to the book, Hope and Help for Your Nerves. Now, I started reading this book when me and my family moved to Bali. My son Hyatt was just a little baby. I was dreading every single day. I was telling myself, man, how is this child going to grow up? How is he at 9 months going to go from 9 months? What's he going to look like in 5 years' time? Is my son going to feel anxiety just like I did? Is it in our genes? Am I giving off the energy that's just going to, hurt him and debilitate him in his life? And this book helped me a lot, along with my own research and such. But chapter 3 really spoke to me a lot, and I really want to take a few moments here to help you guys understand a little bit more about your health anxiety. Dr. Claire Weekes starts on chapter 3 with the breaking point. And she goes on to say, many people are tricked into breakdown. A continuous state of fear, whatever the cause, gradually stimulates the adrenaline-releasing nerves to produce a set pattern of disturbing sensations. These are well known to doctors, but so little known to people generally that when first experienced, they may bewilder and dupe their victims into becoming afraid of them. If asked to pinpoint the beginning of a nervous breakdown, I would say that it is at this moment when the sufferer becomes afraid of the alarming, strange sensations produced by continuous fear and tension, and so places himself or herself in the circle of fear, adrenaline, fear. There it is. The moment that you become alarmed, the moment that you become bewildered, the moment that you start to go, what is going on? What is this? You start asking yourself those types of questions. That's when Dr. Claire Weekes believes that the anxiety disorder and nervous breakdown begins. And this cycle goes on for years. I've seen people overcome it in a matter of, a couple weeks. And then I've seen people struggle with this for years and years and years. The only difference is the curiosity and the constant searching. Because, we have one life, we want to live it to the fullest. We want to be there for other people. We want to do the best we can. Any kind of sensation, any kind of feeling that we feel, automatically, most human beings tend to jump to conclusions and go, what could this be? What is this alarming feeling? And if you know me really well from the posts on anxietyexit.com, you'll know that my biggest sensation, my biggest fear was the lump in the throat feeling. And that was a confusing one because I had ultrasounds done. I had all sorts of tests done, blood tests, you name it. And in those moments of desperation, when it kicked in big time, I realized that I could go one way or another. I could either say, you know what, all my tests have been done. I don't need to ask any more questions about this. Or I could go, you know what if the doctors missed something? When the doctors start to say things like, Dennis, what you have is related to anxiety. What you have is related to tension. What you have is related to panic disorder. A lot of times we don't really want to believe it because our mind says there's no chance that what I'm feeling is directly connected to anxiety, is directly connected to this, what she calls fear, adrenaline, fear cycle. And then she goes on to say, this is the breaking point. In response to growing fear, more and more adrenaline is released and organs are stimulated to produce even more intense sensations. So the more fearful we grow, the more curious we grow about what we may have, the more adrenaline is released and the more our symptoms become stronger and stronger. And that's something that people really need to understand, because when we experience panic attacks, full-blown panic attacks, most of the time, those panic attacks don't just come out of the blue. It's a buildup. It's almost like a subconscious buildup of certain thoughts, certain feelings, more thoughts, higher frequency of feelings, stronger feelings, more what-if thinking and such. And next thing you know, you're going into full-blown panic disorder. So this circle goes around and around until the sufferer becomes lost and confused. Absolutely. And this, this book is fantastic because it speaks to you in just normal English. Typical English, because a lot of these books, use fancy terms and such that we don't really understand until we do our research and then we finally understand what those words mean. But I really would love everybody out there who's listening to this podcast episode to do their research a bit. Understand how the brain works. Understand how the body works. When you start experiencing anxiety, when you start thinking certain thoughts, understand how your body reacts to those thoughts. understand what your subconscious mind is. This is huge. In chapter 4, she goes on. I'm not going to go over the whole book, guys, but just a couple things here. She goes, the commonest, simplest form of nervous illness. So she calls it nervous illness. And she goes on to say, people suffering from the commonest, simplest form of nervous illness, simplest form of anxiety state, complain of some or all of the following symptoms: fatigue, churning stomach, indigestion, racing heart, banging heart, palpitations, sharp pains under the heart, lump in the throat feelings, tingling in the hands and feet, crawling under the skin, a tight band of pain around the head, a heavy weight pressing on top of the head, and on it goes. And you can see now that so much of anxiety brings on so many different types of symptoms. And that's the confusing part. When I go to Health Unlocked, where we have an awesome community there, I see a lot of people asking those questions. Guys, is this related to anxiety? Is this feeling related to my stress and anxiety today? Are these sensations real? And it's confusing because when you overcome the fear and the sensitivity of one symptom, a lot of times your body needs to go from that symptom to another symptom. So when I overcame my lump in the throat feeling, a lot of times I got that head pressure. And next thing you know, my attention was focused on my head, less on my lump in the throat, because I had already made the connection, the link between lump in the throat, meaning tension. So what I did was I started to do some massages on my neck. I started to connect that feeling to a feeling of watching a movie and kind of a sad movie and getting all caught up in the movie. So I made that link, and all of a sudden I became disinterested. My confidence over what I deep down truly thought of that symptom came out. And next thing you know, I was more focused on my head. What is that? And it can travel. Symptoms can travel. She goes on to say, sufferers from these symptoms are quite certain that there is something seriously wrong with them and cannot believe that anyone else could have had such a distressing experience. Many feel convinced that they have a brain tumor, or at least something deep-seated, or that they are on the verge of insanity, going crazy. Their one wish is to be as quickly as possible the person they used to be before this horrible thing happened to them. How true is that? I mean, and that's another issue altogether, is that we want solutions. In our world today, we're so programmed through the media, through this and that, through advertising, to get what we want right away. So when we start to experience these symptoms, these anxiety symptoms, what do you think is the first thing that comes to our mind? Is solution, here, now, right away. And when we don't see those solutions, when we don't experience that relief, we tend to start questioning what we actually have. A lot of people go through cognitive behavioral therapy with me on anxietyexit.com. We do a lot of coaching sessions there. And in the first day or two, we might have a strategy planned out. We might put into action some of the small things and try to create some small wins with people and challenge them. And when they don't see the results in a day or two, what do you think they tend to do? Yeah, they tend to just completely stop the path that they were on because they don't see the relief. They don't see the solution. They don't see that light at the end of the tunnel. So she goes on to say, they are rarely aware that their symptoms are nervous, emotional in origin, and follow a well-recognized pattern shared by numerous sufferers like themselves. The pattern of continuous fear and tension. The pattern of continuous fear and tension is what breeds anxiety, is what triggers those symptoms. And I love this book. I love it because it spoke right to me, and it wasn't until I read it a few times where I actually started to pick up some of the things that I didn't really pick up the first time around. So I definitely suggest that you read Hope and Help for Your Nerves a couple times, so that you really get the message in every single chapter. Every single chapter is extremely beneficial for an anxiety sufferer, for someone deeply sensitized, and what Dr. Claire Weeks calls nervously ill. So, in closing, guys, it's really, really important that you, number one, keep an open mind. Okay, keep an open mind as far as treatments go, as far as how you can overcome your situation as far as anxiety goes, your health anxiety and your symptoms. Keep an open mind, because if you've done your test, guys, there's no reason for a second opinion. It's done, okay? Build on the facts. Go to YouTube and watch my 6 steps to overcome generalized anxiety disorder, and you'll understand that there's a progression there, right? A lot of people need to put into practice the 6 steps there into practice daily in order to get the solution that they're hoping for. But have an open mind. Give things time to work. If you're doing cognitive behavioral therapy, give it time to work. I gave it like a couple weeks. It wasn't working. I stopped. Then I started again for 3-4 months, and boom, everything changed for me. A combination of that and good herbs and a great support team was just everything for me. And if one thing is missing, guys, then it's really difficult to stay on the path. So that's the first thing. Second thing is continue to do your research. Continue to do your research. Always ask questions. Learn more about the brain, learn more about the body, learn more about the nervous system, learn more about panic disorder and nervous illness. And through this book, actually, Hope and Help for Your Nerves, you're going to learn a lot of that stuff. So keep an open mind, do your research, and the most important message, guys, the most important thing is build and celebrate your smallest victories. That's something that we don't give ourselves credit enough. When 9 things go right throughout the day and 1 thing goes wrong, all of a sudden our focus turns to that 1 thing that went wrong. And it's really important that you guys understand that those 9 things are what's going to grow your confidence. It's what's going to help you become less sensitized to a stressful event. Right now, you may feel like you're incredibly sensitized when someone's giving you some criticism, when you trip and fall over something, when something in the house goes wrong that's not in your belief system. So to desensitize yourself, guys, these are the things we need to do. All right. Episode number 28 coming to a close. Make sure to subscribe to the Anxiety Guy podcast, guys, on iTunes as well. Visit anxietyexit.com. There's a number of free resources there that I'd love for you guys to pick up and start your recovery from anxiety. If I can do it, guys, you can do it. I know you can. I've got 2 legs, 2 arms. I've got a brain just like you do, and you have the ability. All you need is the tools, and you're getting them through this podcast here. I'll see everybody really soon. Take care.